Maybe it was cabin fever, as well as the announcement from Beth that she was expecting. It might even have been the anxiety of waiting for Gwen's baby to finally arrive. Whatever the reason, Lacy Gallatin awoke an hour earlier than usual with only one thought on her mind. I have got to get out of here for a time. She got up and dressed quickly, layering warm flannel trousers over thick wool stockings. Next, she put on her heaviest split-wool skirt and warmest blouse and sweater. Lacy then tied her hair back in a single braid and completed her outfit with her heavy winter boots. Taking up her saddlebag, Lacy packed several articles of clothing. She penned a quick note to her sisters, doing her best to explain that the gloomy weather had taken its toll on her. She read the last lines aloud, as much to strengthen her conviction as to assure herself she'd said the right thing. I will be all right. Please don't send anyone after me. I'm not certain where I'm headed, but I assure you I can take care of myself. And she could. Lacy had a little money and a lot of know-how. She was a good horsewoman and a crack shot with the rifle. There had been no reports of highwaymen since the weather had turned so bad the past month. There would always be the threat of wolves, but Lacy could contend with them if she had to. That only left battling the elements. Hurrying downstairs, Lacy grabbed a few items of food and stuffed them into her bags along with her clothes. If a blizzard came up before she figured out where to go, she'd be able to wait it out. She pulled on her heavy coat and scarf and secured her flannel hat. Her last act was to grab matches, a small tin pot, and a canteen from the back porch. Blackness engulfed Lacy as she slipped from the house. Within another half hour or so, her family would wake up to start their day. The long hours of darkness didn't stop or even slow life when it came to caring for livestock and seeing that the community had access to the store. Lacy was glad there wasn't a stage due in or out. The weather had reduced the number of trips being made to Gallatin Crossing, and given Gwen's condition, that had been a very good thing. There would be no big breakfast to prepare and serve, no abundance of laundry to wash. Lacy sighed. She felt she even fell short when it came to doing her part at Gallatin House, the roadhouse she and her sisters operated. She had done minor repairs and some of the heavier work after their father was killed, but now that Gwen and Beth had married and Hank and Nick were in residence, she was relegated to household chores. That left Lacy with very little purpose. She simply didn't belong anymore. Lacy was glad it had stopped snowing. The roadway was much traveled, leaving the previous snow beaten down by stage and freight wagons, as well as local ranchers and riders coming and going. With no more than a new inch or so, the horse would have a fairly easy time of it. In the coming light of morning, Lacy could just make out her way. She hadn't really considered her path, but knew almost instinctively that she was headed for Patience and Jerry Shepard's ranch, 4 miles out of town. Patience had been like a mother to her, and Lacy desperately needed that right now. Perhaps she would just ask Patience to sit for a time and talk. Then Lacy could head out to where? The winds were surprisingly calm, and as the light dawned over the southern reaches of the mountains, Lacy could see that the clouds had cleared. Maybe they would have a bright, sunny day after all. She knew that by now her family would be preparing to face the day. They wouldn't worry about where she was for a time, but when breakfast was on the table, someone would go to fetch her and find a note instead. "They'll probably be mad," she told the horse. "Dave'll be madder than the others. As the law in this area, he'll take it upon himself to hunt me down." The thought of Dave Shepard, Patience, and Jerry's son brought unexpected warmth to her cheeks. As deputy, Lacy knew he had plenty to keep him occupied today. He'd spoken the night before of going to Bozeman if the weather was good. "Hopefully, he'll just do as he planned and leave me alone. He might even think I've gone to Bozeman." The horse bobbed his head as if agreeing. Lacy patted his neck. "I'm sorry for bringing you out in the cold without so much as a few oats to start your day. I'll make it up to you, though. The Shepards will see you well cared for."